your pill and that's for you. As a man, if a man wants to control his own fertility, that's what his pill is for. It's not to prevent you from becoming pregnant. That's a side effect. That's a separate issue. The man, if he has a birth control pill, is controlling his own A, fertility, and B, future. Because we say, a woman's body, a woman's choice, right? What a woman does with her body is her own choice. Well, that makes sense? Sort of it makes sense. We kind of forget, though, that a baby doesn't just come out of thin air. It comes from a man.
I wonder to myself, why? It can't be that hard to make a birth control that'll work for men the way that, they've been able to so successfully make methods for women, dozens and dozens of different methods for them, and we don't have anything like that, anything close to that. And the reason for that is they want women to maintain reproductive control. Getting pregnant by a guy has been a tool of women to basically control men, control relationships, control cash flow.
The guy pill, a guy could secretly be on the pill, and if the woman should have an accident and forget to take her pill, she may not get pregnant anymore. And it gives a guy more control over his reproductive rights. And that'd be like these women that are counting on, especially let's say star athletes or movie stars, to get pregnant and hit the lotto. All of that would be out the window because these guys would be on the pill, and there's no way the woman would know that. In fact, guys would probably lie and say, "Oh no, I'm not on the pill." Okay, on the various forums this is discussed, here are some of the common objections that I've seen women bring to, because a lot of women, they're just like hysterical when you get the concept of men having a
male pill. No, we shouldn't bring it to market because, drum roll please, it'll hurt women. The funny thing is I agree. The real question though is how it will hurt women. I'll tell you. It'll hurt the single mothers by choice, running around looking for sperm donors with fat wallets. It'll hurt the girlfriends trying to trap their boyfriends into marriage by accidentally getting pregnant. It'll hurt all the women who don't want to get their husband's agreement before they have...
If there are no agonizing years of child support. Now listen, pay attention. The guy that tried to extort Dave Letterman for $2 million, the reason he tried to, quote-unquote, tried to extort him was because he had what they said was, quote-unquote, massive child support payments. Now I want to just give you a little understanding on this. Child support in New York and New Jersey, where I live, is 17% per child, okay? Now, for people who are millionaires...
I mean, the man contributes biological material in the form of sperm, so DNA, but he also contributes money for about the next 18 to 20 years. So if he is to have no say in the matter of whether or not a child is carried to term or aborted or given up for adoption, in some cases maybe not even told about it until after the fact, and then garnished for the next 20 years. How is that equitable? How is that fair? How is that just? Well, it's not.
And the problem now is guys can leave, guys can opt out to pay child support, pay alimony, but that girl doesn't have that little stigma about her anymore, because single mothers are commonplace in today's society, and they know that some other chump is going to come along and just come right in there and pay for the kids' bills and pay for her, and she could just cruise on through her life like nothing even happened. Like, I got a kid, making 2 different forms of income because of this kid, and that's just great. Kids are big business for women today, and it's a damn shame. And men just have no choice about it either. Women have all reproductive choice as far as prevention and especially after conception.
This is the most common objection you've seen, and it's really retarded. I would think it as a woman you'd be embarrassed to raise this as an objection. But the objection is, oh, I would never trust a man to be on the pill. He's probably lying, which is just so ironic because men trust women all the time to be on the pill and they get burned. But that has nothing to do with the situation, though. If she doesn't trust the guy, if she doesn't want to get pregnant, she doesn't trust the guy's on the pill, then she should also be on the pill. So she's on the pill, he's on the pill, everything's super safe then. So it has nothing to do with anything, but, it's something thrown out there. It sounds like an argument, but really
Interestingly, it'll also hurt the government, who relies so heavily on child support money, and the country, because the birth rate will go way down, at least at first. My contention is that if you want men to father more children, make it more attractive to them so they want to be dads. I know, it's a weird concept. Men shouldn't have to justify why it's okay for them to have a pill. We want it, so bring it to market and let men decide for themselves.
Anybody who works check to check, who is middle class or upper middle class, it's a terror. Here's why. 300 million. 17% of 300 million, you good. It's like Trump. Trump got kids, but it's no problem because you're a billionaire. So 17%, if your baby mama or your wife or whatever wants to take you out and put you through the wash, it's nothing. You're still going to live. You're still going to be in that penthouse. But 17% of $38,500 means you are living with your grandmother again. Do you understand that? You're back in apartment 4B with grandma and you're stepping over on the way back.
Women can go through and have the kid, even if you don't want the kid. That thing's coming. But if you want the kid and they don't want the kid, oh man, this is an ugly reality right here. If you really want a child and she doesn't, after that kid's born, she give it up for adoption. You'll never see it again. She can decide just to go terminate the pregnancy, so terminate it. She doesn't have to consult you. You don't have to sign any papers. You have no say in it whatsoever. I mean, she can go kill your offspring with no consequence whatsoever.
Alright, this one's also funny. This is where the woman says, oh, the money, I'm not against the male birth control pill, but it's just not a wise use of funds for drug companies to research it when they'd be better spend their money to try to develop a cure for cancer. Well, first of all, that's a logical fallacy. It's not like they can just research one or the other. They can research both. And it's hypocritical, because women sure hell didn't mind when the drug companies researched to develop their pill. They weren't trying to say, I didn't hear the feminists say, oh, no, don't research a pill for us. Spend the money on cancer instead. So
that's $38,500. What is 17% of $27,200? That means that you're homeless. Now you think about that. Okay? It's just something for you to think about. You tell me what you feel about it. Scooping Man and White.
We got to get over this mentality. We got to get over this mentality that women are just these goddesses, just these ethereal beings that are just so far up on a pedestal. Like, you gotta knock that fucking pedestal down, fucking lumberjack that hoe, because women don't need to be up on a pedestal. Women are people just like us, and most of them are just pieces of shit. I mean, every asshole you know, there's a woman equivalent 10 times worse than that person.
Alright, here's another laughable and hypocritical argument. This is just wear a condom or just don't have sex if you don't want to get a girl pregnant. And it's so funny because that was never said in the 60s to women, like, well, there's no pill available. If you don't like it, just don't have sex if you don't want to get pregnant. And, and they always bring up a vasectomy, but that's surgery. That's a permanent solution. I mean, if you ever want to have kids later on, you're kind of screwed. It can be reversed, but it's not always possible. So it's a weak argument. It's a hypocritical argument because you could say the same thing to a woman. You don't need a birth control pill. Just have your tubes. That's your choice. All right. This next argument is not really much of an argument, but you hear it. It's like, well, if you want to play, you got to expect to pay. And that really comes closer to the truth of the argument. I think it is. I think that a lot of women are upset that, wait a minute, guys could have sex and they don't have to pay for it, either through child support or whatever. And it's just a ridiculous argument, obviously. I mean, you could turn around and use it to women, too, saying, well, too bad you got pregnant, you want to play, you gotta pay the consequences now. But anyways, it's just really what's called shaming language. It's not really an argument. It's just trying to get you in submission by using shaming language on you. Once you become impervious to shaming language, it doesn't really register, but you get this as a so-called argument at times.